out 3 songs. And the difference between these songs and the other thousands of songs I've written in my life were these were songs I wish I never had to write. I took no pleasure in writing them, but I felt a certain obligation to do so. The first one was a song called Blood in My Hands. It came out early after the Afghan withdrawal. As you saw in the last few days, it's been 3 years now since the Afghan withdrawal. I was very critical of the withdrawal. It became a song that was significant to many of our Afghan veterans who felt gutted by the fact that we abandoned their brothers in arms and allies we promised to protect, as well as American citizens. And the song kind of came out, it did its thing, and it got so crazy that I actually started getting emails from people trapped in Afghanistan. That's how desperate people were. So I kind of gathered some folks and embedded with some NGOs, not embedded like I was there, but I started working with them. And one was called Project Exodus Relief, one was called Operation Pineapple. A group called Save Our Allies got 16,000 allies out in 9 days. Totally amazing. I met some incredible, heroic people. You'll never know their names. Some I didn't even know their names. There's one guy called Sea Spray. That's all you're allowed to know his name. But they would wade through the sewers down in Kabul, and they'd rescue like women, female judges, gay, lesbian people, people at risk, Americans, wade them through the sewers, get them to the planes, and sleep an hour, and then do it again, all the while being hunted by the Taliban. Just incredible people. So there are heroes out there. There really are. So I wrote that song and did that. Actually, I was talking today to a guy in Pakistan. We still have girls in Pakistan. It's not like it's over. It's frankly just, I don't want to talk about it. But it's really breaks your heart. But I'm like, okay, so hopefully that, I was like, that's it. But then Putin invades Ukraine, and I had never heard of this guy Zelensky before. But the first thing I heard about him was that when Putin invaded, our government's first act was to offer him a plane ticket to leave. And I'm like, okay. And to his credit, he said, keep your plane ticket, send me some Stinger missiles, knowing that very likely he and his children and his wife would be killed in the next few days. I think that's pretty grave. I haven't seen that in the West in a long time. And that kind of fortitude of the Ukrainian people, I wrote a song called Come One Man Save the World. I recorded it piano vocal and I put it out within like 2 days because I didn't expect him to survive the week. And I actually had the opportunity to go to Ukraine. A few months after the song came out, I was actually looking to go to Poland and play the song with the Polish orchestra because, as you know, Poland took 4 million refugees, just heroic. So I was looking to do that, and I called a friend who had a lot of relationships over there and said, what do you think? And she said, well, let me call you back. And she called me back a couple weeks later and said, how would you like to go to Ukraine and play with the Ukrainian orchestra? And I was kind of like that. I was like, what? I'm like, do they even exist? And she said, well, they're scattered across Ukraine, but we can get them to Kyiv for about 3 days. A million things have to happen. Don't tell anybody, and we'll call you back. And I'm out with my string quartet in the middle of Indiana in our last show, and I come off stage, and there in my inbox is a plane ticket to Krakow. And I had a very long chat with my wife that night, you can imagine. But she let me go, and off I went. Actually came to Logan, flew to Amsterdam, go to Krakow, plane, trains, and automobiles, crazy 2-day story. We finally end up in Kyiv. And typically when you go to Ukraine, as you've seen, people perform in the subways, underground, because of all the air attacks. You have to be underground. But we were able to actually perform in what is hollowed ground in Ukraine. It's a place called the Antonov Airport, and the significance of the Antonov Airport is it hangars the symbol of Ukrainian independence, which is actually an airplane, believe it or not. It's called the Maria. It's the largest cargo plane in the world. Flew missions for the Soviet space shuttle, flew missions during COVID. And on their army patch, as you will see in the little video we'll show you, is the airplane. So it's very important to them. And Putin, at the outset of the war, went to the Antonov Airport with his troops when he was trying to take Kyiv, and he blew it up and blew the nose cone off, trying to gut the will of the Ukrainian people. It didn't work, but it was a significant location. We were able to go to the Antonov Airport, put my piano in a pool of jet fuel surrounded by blown up tanks in front of the Maria with the orchestra sitting right there. and perform the song and make a video. You can see it online, Can One Man Save the World, with Ukrainian orchestra. Every member of that orchestra had either had somebody killed, someone on the front lines, or somebody missing. And I'll never forget the leader of the orchestra, the 72-year-old tough violin player, this woman, spent about a half hour teaching me Ukrainian curse words on how to curse Putin. That was great. That was a lot of fun. And to set the stage for you, as we were running takes, out of the corner of my eye, I saw an entourage of military folks coming over. It was a general and these huge Rambo dudes. And through an interpreter, he said, thank you for coming. President Zelensky is very happy you're here. And then he said something that I'll never forget. He said, let me hear the song. And when he said that, you could see the orchestra stiffen. You could see them get nervous. You could see them get excited. He was like their Schwarzkopf. He was like the face of the war. So when we started to play for him, they played with passion and vigor and pain and fortitude. And if you see the video, you'll see it in their faces. And it was very emotional, as you can imagine. Halfway through, I kind of lost it. I noticed the big Rambo guys were putting on their sunglasses because they were teary. And at the end of the performance, there was this moment of silence, that felt like 2 weeks, but it was 4 or 5 seconds. But you felt the weight of these people fighting for survival, many of them remembering being under the yoke of the Soviet Union, this kind of David versus Goliath. And it didn't occur to me till I was in the van going back to the hotel that they, for the most part, didn't even know the words. It was just the music and that communal experience that we had together. People just appreciating freedom and standing with each other that was so significant. And there's really no words to talk about that. And to give you a sense of what I experienced that day, we're going to do something a little different. We have the ability, through technology, for you to hear the orchestra, as I heard it that day, sitting in that blown-up airport with this Ukrainian orchestra. So if you close your eyes, you can imagine what it would be like, just a year and a half ago. So here is Can One Man Save the World?